everything is like your actual kitchen and shit.
Oh yeah, I took that picture earlier. So I think we're live right now. Oh shit, I'm barely in the frame. So it's Reggie Daniels. He went with me we both went to Victory Lab together.
Mm-hmm.
Victory Lab was a sales training program for people to do the sales development rep role, and I got a job right out of Victory Lab. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Believe you.
I did not. I was applying at different places, but truth be told, that didn't bother me so much, man.
I mean, I'm not with the company I was with anyway, and I don't know. I learned a lot from it, but obviously not life defining to this point yet. So that's great. Yeah, Victory Lab was interesting. I was just gonna kind of get into like what it took to get into it real quick. Not really plug them, but
for sure,
just like a bit of an interview process because it was free, right?
Yeah,
I didn't pay
it was
anything.
free. Yeah, you didn't have to pay anything.
Yeah, free sales training, and then they put you. They did sales training, and then they did interview preparation.
Yeah, so a lot of interview prep.
They went over your social media and stuff, which helped me a lot. I'll say that
for sure.
Got my LinkedIn looking TikTok.
Get that LinkedIn right for real,
bro.
Yeah,
that's huge. Like that alone, doing that for free was huge. A lot of stuff I was not even thinking about. But yeah, it was cool. Then they got you a bunch of interviews. Was it 15? I was trying to think of the number. Was it 12, 15?
It was around 12 or 15.
Because I can't remember how many people were in the class. Maybe that was 15 people and it was 12 interviews. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It was right around there. It's a lot of interviews real fast.
For sure. I did love that about it, though. Because normally with the interviews, with one place, you got to make the call, and you got to wait till they call you back. And,
well, just to get the experience to be in front of that many, like, actual interviewers, get that much. Yeah, well, to get all of their attention in one day, that's a hell of an opportunity.
That was amazing. Yeah.
So just the experience to have gone through that too. It's kind of like running a gauntlet. I felt like people pretty nervous,
It was. I would say it definitely prepared you a lot for doing anything else, at all. So
you remind me of I don't know. I did Boy Scouts back when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, just
Boy Scout guys. Huh?
Yeah, it kind of felt like that kind of side of things. There's a bunch of people working together towards something that is difficult for them all. I did a high adventure camp, went to the Florida Keys. We all went snorkeling and stuff. I'm just getting into that because it's just like going into that together. It's like it's tough, and we all got to work together. And I thought it was interesting, kind of the dynamics people had, because it's like some people were looking out for themselves, some people were kind of looking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just different personalities.
For sure.
It's a really interesting experience at Victory Lab.
Boy Scouts, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. I don't think I know anybody who ever did Boy Scouts in my life.
Really?
Now I do.
Well, there you go. Here's the thing: is I never got my Eagle Scout.
Never got it. So it's not like the next step up from Boy Scouts.
I got life. Well, the thing is, there's ranks. I believe there's tenderfoot is the first one. Then there's there's a couple, and then there's second class, first class. There's one other one.
It's like military shit.
It is like military. But the thing is, it's like, if you look at the handbook, it's very simple. It's actually more like just going to another school, like another class, where they teach you knots and how to start a fire. Yeah, how to start a fire. I mean, I'm sure most people would assume that it's more like Hitler Youth kind of stuff. People like to put that little angle on it,
Hitler Youth, bro? Who says that? Oh my God, Hitler Youth and Boy Scouts.
No. I think when people go to extremes, which I think, especially nowadays, it's very common. I try to think the way trolls think.
I feel that. You have to do that.
You have to think, because I can't wait. I was telling my buddy Sean, I'm like, I can't wait till we get our first troll. I was like, I know we made it when we get our first troll. So I want to be getting the jump on them. You know what I'm saying?
That's how you got to do it, man. Because you will be trolled relentlessly. It's the internet age. Anything you put
Troll
out
or be trolled. Troll or be trolled.
That's the motto, bro.
So anyway, we're talking about Boy Scouts. Yeah. And I got Life Scout, and actually quite a few of my friends got Eagle. The biggest reason I didn't get Eagle were in the last couple ranks. You ever seen those sashes they wear? It's got all little things on it. Yeah, those are the merit badges. The thing about the Boy Scouts is in the first few ranks, the first 3 out of 6 are all doing certain things, like learning to tie a square knot, something in particular. It's like a regimented, everyone learns this shit. It's like the first part of the curriculum. The second part is pick what you want to do, and you get a badge for it. So swimming, shooting, bow, whatever. There's a bunch of stuff, and so it shows like what you were master of.
Mm-hmm.
And to get to the higher ranks of the Eagle is you had to get like a certain amount. So I didn't do the ones that were all about paperwork. Like there's one that was personal fitness where you had to log like every time you worked out and how many push-ups you did and all this stuff. And then there's like this finance one. There's this one that was like finance. It was like keeping track of like your budgeting. And then there's citizenship of the world, citizenship of the nation, and citizenship of your community. And those were 3 like school ones. Those like civics class.
Okay, I think I've heard those before.
Yeah, and because I didn't do those 5, I couldn't become an Eagle Scout if I wanted to. I had to do that first. It was prerequisite.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not doing that. And I don't want to do an Eagle project either. I was like, I had my fun doing the swimming, the hiking, the camping. That's what I was here for. And now you're trying to tell me I'm doing homework. And I was like in 8th grade. I'm like, man, things are moving so much different now. Like, I got what I wanted. We went camping. It was fun as hell.
So, like, see, what I'm more exposed to is like, in terms of organizations like that, is like maybe like on some Big Brother, Big Sister type shit. Like,
big time.
Like mentorship type programs and shit.
Yeah.
But no, I never knew anybody that aside from you.
That's the thing that's interesting about the rank structure, because it makes the older scouts literally higher ranks than the other ones. For so sure. I think a lot of times people like to kind of rag on hierarchies, but it's like that's one that kind of works. It's like the young kids can't be jerks to the older kids.
I mean, yeah, it only makes sense
because not only do they know more, they're older. It gave. And then there's leadership positions within. So the kids who are more proactive, you can get a younger scout. He's not, he's maybe a first class. He's not chasing the merit badges like the Eagles, like the older kids are, but he's like taking over like a patrol leader. Like, so he's the one who like reminds everyone to go and like reminds them, you know what I mean? That was kind of like a networking thing. And I'll say I didn't use it to the fullest. I was just kind of like a da-da-da. My dad asked me what I needed to provide him for, like when I needed a ride, whatever, but like that was about it. My dad wasn't always hands-on. Like some of the other dads, it was like they're like living vicariously through each other.
Yeah, I can imagine that a lot of that was going on because it's like, oh, my son started a fire. Like,
yeah, and not to say my dad didn't participate at all. Like he was always like, when there's a camping trip that he could go to, he went. It's just like he didn't always go to the meetings, and like if I didn't tell him stuff that happened in the meeting, he just didn't know.
Yeah.
So like if I didn't want to do something, I just
you just
didn't do it.
He didn't give a fuck. Yeah. Like whatever.
It's like, oh, we didn't spend $25 and you stayed home.
Yeah, my dad was more like that too, man. He was always more like a
always supportive.
Yeah,
always supportive.
But he was supportive in like in like how the fucking, I think it was like the Queen of fucking Portugal, Spain or whatever, supported like Christopher Columbus. He was supportive in that way. He's like, I'll fund the whole thing, but you got to figure that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like you go and do it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I agree with you there, but I like when it came to picking what's being done, for sure, which is kind of like what you're saying. My dad didn't care. He's like, figure out however whatever you want to do and however long you want to do it, and with that whatever passion level you want. For sure. He's like, if you want to go and dedicate to something, do it. I'll drop you off every time. But if I wasn't motivated to be like ready to go and leave, he wouldn't take me. Very few times did he actually. Well, he did hold me to my bullshit. I'll say that. Okay. Because there are certain things I wanted to quit, and he never let me quit.
Yeah, my dad is with.
He never let me quit.
I wouldn't say he never let us quit, but if we did quit, he'd be like, "Look at you quitting." Like,
no, my dad.
He definitely wouldn't let you live that shit down.
Well, the funny thing is, my dad never let me quit, but I never pushed what never let meant. Because that's another thing, maybe because we're leading into fatherhood. That's the topic, and. I was respecting my father to the point where I don't know how often dudes come to blows with their dads. Because like,
that's a good question. I don't think
I had an interesting relationship with my father because we both wrestled.
Oh, okay.
And I've wrestled ever since I was a little kid. To me, I don't know, like physical altercation is never always violence to me. Like some people just like a grab on the shoulder and they're like,
ready to fucking.
They're like a cat. Man. Well, that's the way I look at it. Because like, I'm like a dog. Yeah. People always say, "Are you a cat or dog?" Like personality, like the astrology stuff. I'm like, I'm for sure a dog. For sure. Because dogs come up, they'll lick your face and be like, "Oh, Didn't realize you didn't like me.
Yeah,
It's cool. I'll
Sorry about that.
back away. Cats are always like, I hate everyone, and like somehow let certain people in.
Cats get such a bad rap.
They
I love
do.
Cats, man. I'm a cat guy.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I like dogs.
I
man.
pitched that like a dog though.
I like dogs too. You know what I'm saying? But
This is Bone. I like Bone. Have you met Bone?
Exactly. Like they're very. I love dogs, man. But cats. I don't know, man. Cats. I guess just because I grew up with a lot of cats. But anyway.
No. I appreciate cats.
Yeah.
We had kittens, but they're outdoor cats.
Yeah.
You know. We lost them all because they ran away. We lived on a street full. Oh, we had a street full of dogs.
Oh yeah, that'll run them off.
And the thing is, we live in an area. It's like it's not rural, but it's like more rural than a lot of stuff. We have like no fences or anything, so it just kind of went where it wanted. Like if it just never wanted to show up to our place, that was it. We don't know that anything bad happened to it.
I feel that. Could just be out there living.
It's probably
living his best life, man.
It's probably swole. It's got an Instagram account. I'm sure it's in a great place. It's getting a lot of love somewhere.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's working on himself.
Living his best life, man.
Exactly. But yeah, man. But you know what I think about though sometimes is that like because my brother and my sister have both had children recently. So and they both had daughters, but I sometimes look at my older brother and with his daughter, and it's like it's beautiful to see. You know what I'm saying? Because my brother, he's a more coarse fella. You know what I'm saying? He's a little bit rougher around the edges. So it's cool to see him get with his daughter and kind of soften up a little bit.
I think that's like that's the point of having kids, man.
Yeah. Kind of bring you down to reality in the earth.
I think they provide whatever, and I've only felt this recently. We didn't prepare this at all. But I've been looking at more having kids. I'm a 26-year-old guy. I turned 27 in June here.
Now that's interesting.
You know how old I was?
No. I knew how old you were. Well, maybe I didn't. I don't know.
I'm gonna put my phone on do not disturb.
But thinking about having kids, what do you mean by that? Like,
no, okay, I'll put it this way. Like, I'm not like baby crazy or anything.
Oh, okay. You scared me, bro.
That's reserved for other demographics. Yeah, no, I went from being like I totally don't care if I ever have kids. Like that's a distinct camp to be in.
To be in
like as you're growing up, like you'd be like, I could see myself never having a kid. And like that was a possibility up until I came here to Chicago. And like honestly, I've seen how much opportunity there is if you exert yourself in the right way. That I'm like, you know what? Because the reason I didn't want to is I was worried I wouldn't be able to have the finances.
Yeah, damn right.
And I can see how quickly money moves here. And if I just put myself in the right part of the stream and just make sure I apply myself from there on out. But that being aside, it's like now I see that's a possibility. It's like, I want to genuinely look into making the right choice with having a kid, you know? And I don't think that means you got to be out the clubs, There's different ways of going about that path.
That's true.
I think it starts with surrounding yourself with the right people.
Definitely.
And
that's tough, though. I sit and think about all the time when, under when and with whom I will have kids and, like, under what circumstances, like, that will be and, like, what.
I'm just saying it's more on my radar before than it was. Because there's, like, the obvious, like, lust that, like, all men, it's like the call of the wild. It's like, wow, that's hot. That's. Yeah, right. I like that. Sure. It's worse like when you got the dog mentality. I want it all. I deserve it all. I'm a dog. Yeah. I think a lot of women don't understand that either. I explained to my sister. She's like, no, it can't be that. I'm like,
oh yeah, no, they don't accept that.
They don't understand.
They don't accept that shit. They're like, what?
Are you trying to be a victim?
Exactly.
What do
you mean you don't have a choice?
Yeah.
You mean you can't just say no?
Right.
I gotta say no, but no. We're not gonna say no.
No. Yeah. It gets weird. I forget what was I getting into with that. I was completely lost train of thought there.
Damn. Choo.
Take a little water break here.
Shit, man. Because I also know a lot of friends and family that deal with baby mother situations. get and have kids with, I don't want to say the wrong people, but people that are difficult to have children with, shall we say. People who are difficult to interact with, people who have problems in their own life.
It comes down to trust for me is one of the biggest things in family.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, trust that, and I think this is at its simplest form, that they're still thinking about you as like a pilot-like situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
pilot-like situation.
like in the back burner. You know, that there's a group of, I was explaining this to I think my sister recently. I was saying there's a group of people you're constantly just checking up on. You know, just seeing where they're at. Like maybe you don't interact with them, but you want to just kind of know where that person's at because you're kind of growing with them. I'd say you're one of those people. Like there's obviously different spectrums. Like my sister, I gotta be checking once a week.
For sure.
You know, but like I think that's kind of how we like have to look at our relationships. This is one thing I was talking to Sean about. One of my the first episode I did was how we look at strangers. So this kind of piggybacks off that. I'm not sure. I don't think you got a chance to listen to it beforehand. It's all good. But I don't want to get into that too often because we're going to try and make this like episodic. So like one thing builds off another. But the way you start looking at people is like how much you think like your next interaction with them is going to be valuable to both yourself and them. And even if it's simple as social media stuff, it's like there's plenty of people on social media that I don't ever really interact with much, but it's that support. It's, you know, you're still connecting with people.
Audience, basically. Like, I'm out there.
Yes.
For sure. I get that.
And well, why was that coming up? Oh, we're talking about the way we deal with family, like the baby mama situation. That's where I think that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
But that's why I want to tie it in. I want to talk about social media. You think about, you just look at the way your mannerisms are when you think of those stories. It's like, it's really anxious for that person. You really want to look at what they're going through. And when you look at it, that we live in an era where everyone's on social media and they're all under the spotlight. So people are even checking if you're not posting stuff. You know, it's like literally like a heartbeat for certain people. Like my father, he doesn't use social media at all. I just have to make sure I'm texting him every now and then, being like, hey, good, what are you up to? You know, just kind of that.
My dad has a love-hate relationship with social media.
Yeah.
He's on it, but he's always like, I need to get out there.
My dad's the kind of guy that if I won't text him for a couple of days, he'll call me. So I just make sure I'm texting him.
My dad does that too.
Yeah. So it's better just to be in texting communication. I'll send him a funny meme every now and then. He's actually, my father learned what memes were last year, and now he loves them. Memes. He doesn't go looking for them, though. It's more, he receives them from other people, and if he likes it, he'll send it to me. And by then, I've generally seen it already. Yeah. But it's nice to enjoy them with him.
Yeah, for sure. It's something, to be kept in the loop.
Is your dad kind of, memes are kind of weird with.
Yeah, my dad, he's on Instagram. Like, so.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Well, yeah, like, my dad is like, he has more followers than me on Instagram.
Does he?
Yeah, I'm jealous.
I could see that.
Because he's really into like fashion. Like, I mean, I do music.
Okay.
Shameless plug, Ready Smokes, by the way.
There you go. I think it's in the description.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So he does. So he's really into fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like a sneakerhead. So he has like over 150, probably 200 pairs of shoes.
Oh, jeez.
Like expensive shoes, like
got like 4 over there. I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah, dude, me too. I'm the same way. I got like 6 pairs.
Yeah.
Like some boots, 2 of them dress shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's it.
So.
Jeez.
And I'm talking about some like plastic wrap, like autograph, like never will wear them. They just are like valuable, like
it's like
collectors pieces, like display just for trading. Like he goes to conventions and like trade shoes and sell shoes.
So that's kind of that's like his thing on the side.
Like,
okay.
And he's
I thought you were just saying like he just had good shoes.
No,
that's his thing.
Like fashion is his thing. Like he's really into clothes and he got like custom made jerseys with his name on it and coats and
he talking to Ye though?
Hey,
that Chicago connection?
That's the next step, but no.
Getting in with Yeezy?
No, holla at me. No, but he recently has started his own clothing line. It's called Chicago Love.
Okay. Oh, I saw you post something about it. Yeah.
Yep. And so he sells those.
That in the description. Remind me, we'll put that in the description later too.
For sure. And he sells those that's the reason he's on social media is to market his clothes and to sell that. And also So he sells those, like ships them all over the country and shit, and it's really great. My little brother just started a clothing line. Like I'm talking about, my father has like the press in the basement. Like he presses up the shirts and the hoodies himself. Like put the logo on it, press them up, ship them out, all that. So it's
the whole operation.
Yeah, man, and it's spreading because I make my hoodies and shirts, my Reggie Smokes hoodies and shirts. That's like he made that possible. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He started doing his shit. He was like, "Oh, we need to make you," and I was like, "Dad, I got a logo," because I got my logo made. And he was like, "Oh man, we can turn that and press that up," and so we started doing that. And then this is my little brother's actually Overdose on Confidence.
I like it.
This is his clothing line that he just started, just launched it like a couple weeks.
It looks good too. It's clean sweater.
Yeah, man. So and this is his line. He came up with the design and everything. It's called Overdose on Confidence. So check that out as well.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure we plug you properly. I'm falling off screen, but I won't be too close to you.
And as you can see, like it started a wave. He was the first one, and then he was like pulled us into it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, then it becomes more of a. You talking about families, family business. You know, business, exactly. It's like your dad's he's riding a wave. You know, however you want to describe it. You want to make sure you're behind him, though. You know. It's like the universe is smiling upon your father. Give him his.
That's his baby.
Moment in the sun.
Yeah, that's his brand. That's his baby, man. And just out of curiosity though, like my dad is actually a janitor. Like in real life, like that's his actual job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, he always was on us about that, like having your own thing and being independent, and just being able to have your own baby, your own little project and things, something you can kind of be proud of.
Does he try to make any money off his?
Oh yeah, he sells them.
I was gonna say
like, it ain't no not for profit, baby.
I make sure. I mean, you're talking about like it's his baby. I'm like, does he just collect these?
I'm talking about just the order. So, like
the
brand he created.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's like his thing. What's your dad doing?
My dad's a teacher.
He's a teacher. Okay. What grade is he?
He's a high school math teacher. So he normally does sophomores and juniors he mostly does geometry, but I think he does some pre-calc now too.
Mm-hmm. What is he like into? Like, what's your dad do? Like, what is he? I know you say he likes.
Well, he's a wrestling coach.
So like sports and shit.
Yep, he does. He did football. I'm just looking at like what consumed a good bit of his time. He did football. He was a coach for a little while.
A high school coach.
Yep. Gotcha. And then he did the stats for a long time for his school, Garfield Heights.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, he's been teaching for quite a while. It's interesting because he's seen kind of the way teachers have been, just to get his perspective on where teachers have been treated.
Yeah, man. I have 3 aunties that are teachers, and they tell me stuff all the time, and I'm like, that.
Well, I hear things on both sides. One is like what the government, how the budgeting hasn't improved for them, where not getting raises and levies and stuff like that. That gets weird, especially when the unions start getting involved, and that stuff's happening all the time. People normally don't hear about it, but I hear it from my dad. He's telling me that it's not just smiling teachers delivering information, and there's people trying to make a living too. And the other side of it's the kids. That the kids as a whole have completely changed from when he started teaching. And he started teaching 91. Yeah, I was born in 92. He started teaching fully in 91. I think he did some student teaching before that. But like when you see where the 91 student, high school student, is to the 2018.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Man, I'm surprised he doesn't act like he went through Nam. Like to go back in the days.
Yeah, dude. Like,
he told me like he had this geometry experiment. Okay, at the end of the year, it's like most of the kids' grades are set. It's like they're getting ready for the summer. He knew they were losing their attention, so because he knew that, he's a great teacher. He would have everything wrapped up early. And then at the end, it'd be this big project that you'd work on for the last few weeks of school, and you would have to design a putt-putt course. And like the only thing you had to do was rough. You only had to do, I think, depending on like whether it's honors or it's basic class, I think the regular class only had to do like 1. Mm-hmm. And then like the honors had to do like 3 or something. And then you got bonus points for doing more. And I'm telling you, there's some kids and especially families back then that they'd actually get wood and they'd like make like little, like it was normally on poster board and stuff, but they'd make like little, they put like sand. Yeah, they put like glue with sand on it. That's cool. They'd put like they'd put like a little turf on it. Man. They'd make it this big thing and they'd spend 3 weeks on it. That's cool. What kid would you ever consider, including my own sister or myself, honestly, would actually do something like that now? And the thing is, he'd bring them home, and I thought it was the coolest thing as a kid. Like, I couldn't wait to do that in high school. Little did I know that it'd be gone by the time I got to high school.
Yeah.
But he was bringing these home and grading them. And I was probably like 5, 6. I'm like, Dad, that's so cool. Like, I'm going to get to do that one day. He's like, yeah, math is what's going to make you do this. So I was like, that's awesome, Dad. Dude, I was all Dexter's Laboratory. Like, I'm like, yes. What else? What are the others? Jimmy Neutron, you know?
Yeah.
Dude,
was the good shit back in the day.
That was the good shit. There's a lot of good shit.
It was
Cartoons
Cartoons are so fucking weird now, dude. It's weird as fuck. Like, just like.
Well, the thing
strange.
is, I think cartoons are weird because they try to be real. Yeah. When you look at the cartoons we watched back then,
I feel like they're very like simple slapstick type shit.
No, they're over the top. I was gonna say the opposite. Like very simple, like archetypes, but the things they're going through. Like I was watching Johnny Bravo. Like, when's the last time you watched Johnny Bravo?
It's been a minute.
It's because he plays like this obvious like dumb jock, Elvis impersonating, but like simple dog guy. You know? I mean, sorry to keep using that dog cat thing, but
that's what it is. I mean, that's how people think of it. Like that's the binary people use.
Man. That's like, well, you know? And I think it's a really good differentiator because it's to me it's the people who are gonna do something and make a mistake, or the people who are gonna wait and miss out.
Definitely.
That's when I think of cat and dog. That's what I think of. And it's like, are you gonna live with the regret, or are you gonna live with the mistake?
I feel that.
You know. So anyway, that's kind of the lesson you can learn from Johnny Bravo. It's like this is what it looks like when you go up to girls and act like a jerk. It's like what we learned. Like I watched it, I was like, ha, that's really funny. I would never do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the thing is, this is where I have a problem with a lot of social justice warriors, because we see that and we're like, that's something I learned not to do. And they watch it and go, oh, it's encouraging. A child will obviously decide that that's the right thing to do. It's like you give kids no credit. You know? It's like, honestly, as a kid, I think you just see something and you don't know what to tie it to yet. You don't have other memories. You're not like a
reference, really.
Right. You're not like a scarred adult who goes back to previous trauma. You're a kid. You're just like, oh, okay, I'll categorize that for later. And then like later you tie it in. You're like, oh, that guy at that bar, I don't like him. He acts like Johnny Bravo. You know? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's like how the kid brain has to think.
Yeah.
You got nothing to base stuff off of.
Yeah.
And so
I know that my people was always really or at least my grandparents really was always like particular about that, particularly on my mom's side, like about what we would watch as kids.
Okay. Yeah, well, my mother too.
Yeah. And well, yeah,
100% Colombian.
Yeah, she was true.
She didn't even let my sister watch SpongeBob SquarePants. Yeah, she had a real problem with SpongeBob.
SpongeBob is like PG, bro.
Dude, I never got her to like. And the thing is, I told her, I was like, Mom, I've watched SpongeBob. It's hilarious. Nothing wrong with it. She's conceded that my sister watches it, but she like squints every time. She's like SpongeBob. She's like, I'm watching SpongeBob. It's like, all right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's like, you seen the movie like Coco?
No, but I've seen.
It's like that Mexican.
Yeah, a lot of like images of it in previews.
The thing is, there's like a grandma. She like pulls out her chancleta, her sandal. I just picture my mom like if my sister you start hearing like who lives in a pineapple, like my mom's like,
where's that car? Turn it off.
Get that out of my house.
Rough, dude.
No, she's not that bad, but that's kind of like the kind of glare she gives you.
See, yeah, my mom was like that, but my dad didn't really care. Like, so long as it wasn't anything that was like overtly like sexual or like overtly.
Oh yeah,
dude, my fucking dad. He went to go take me and my little brother, who I think was like he was not more than 10 at the time, to go see 300. Dude, when 300 came out, I swear to fucking God.
I saw 300 when it came out too.
Like in the theater.
I remember I remember that was the moment I first had serious props for Mr. Eilerman.
Mr. Eilerman.
Yeah. I mean, he was always a cool guy. He was one of the guys who's my friend Sam. He actually just got married. Haven't really talked to him much, but happens when you get married.
Yeah.
We had our 21st birthday trip together. We did Boy Scouts. His dad was one of the leaders in the Boy Scouts, so he's always around. He was helping out with camps, stuff like that. But he took us to go see 300.
Mm-hmm.
And he just sat down and was the adult. Like instead of the walk and leave, he actually stayed and watched the whole thing.
True.
And I was just like, wow. Because for me, I was like, there's there's a nude scene and they have sex.
Yeah.
And I was like sitting there watching. I'm like, am I watching this, Mr. Ivan? His eyes aren't exploding. Like honestly, as a kid, I'm just like,
how old were you?
Huh?
How old were you at that time?
Shit. Dude, I've been a kid forever.
I never grew up.
Yeah. The moment you do is the moment you're trying to die.
Wow.
You know? If you're just going corpse, if you're letting life get to you that harshly. Because I'll put it this way. All the men I aspire to try to be like are still children. They're just children who know their stuff.
I feel where you're coming from.
Saying someone a child is not an insult. That to me, that is a compliment, 100%. Now, if you're saying it for the wrong reason, obviously, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But what I'm saying is, like, dictionary-wise, saying someone's a child, that's not an insult.
I feel that.
Because the way I look at it is, children look at things with a completely open mind. And so when you tell someone you're a child, it's like, okay, am I a child, or are you maybe not looking at things with an open mind?
That's one way to look at it. That's a good way to look at it. You know what I'm saying? In certain situations. But, you know, that depends on the context, too, man.
That's completely 100%.
You can't be acting like a fucking child.
No.
Certain areas of life.
Well, and I think that's what's, like, agreed upon.
Yeah.
I think...
You know, it just depends on what area we tackling, but I feel where you're coming from.
Well, that's, like, kind of where tradition comes into play. Obviously, I had the kind of parents who, if I started stepping out of line in public, what the hell are you doing? And then I never did it again. I didn't have to challenge it. I was just like, I looked at the kids who did, and I was like, I was like, I don't know. Thinking in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'd fit those kids. Why aren't they getting hit? It's like, okay, well, I'm being a good kid, you know. Mm-hmm. But you have those people who always want to push that boundary, man. I can't blame parents. Sometimes they just kind of let the kids run amok. But I wouldn't do that myself.
Yeah, dude. That's why I'm like weary about having children and all of that. Like, I know I won't do it for a while because.
Well, even like with people's dogs, man. Like, I'm the kind of person I wrestle with dogs. People get really, like, people who like baby their dogs. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a dog. Those things come out in a year. They're an adult.
Yeah, basically.
You know, they're a full dog in 1 year. So they're 3 years old. It's like, yeah, you could be a grandpa. You know, at 3 years, like, it's not likely, but yeah.
I feel what you're saying.
It's like I don't know. I like dogs love to wrestle. They like to play. They only live, you know, 15 years at most, 20 if you're lucky. It's like, yeah, wrestle with them. They want to engage in this. And when I see that, when I apply that to human level, it's like people afraid of like that level of energy. It's like, what is the concern? You know, what is the concern that's going to happen? That they're going to enjoy themselves? You know, learn something.
You're going to
trust
enjoy yourself.
When I say enjoy yourself, like just it's like a trusting moment. It's like we're pretending like we're being violent, but we're learning this is like what violence would look like, but we're not being violent. It's a safe environment. Mm-hmm. Actually, I've jotted something down. This is what I want to talk about fatherhood. Because I wrote it down. What did I say? Because I think fatherhood isn't a biological father to biological son thing.
Definitely not.
That was one thing we didn't get into, and that was one thing I wanted to bring up.
It's like something. I think it's just a thing about mentorship and guidance, and you know what I'm saying, imparting wisdom and you know what I'm saying, just supporting people.
Yeah,
the younger.
Well, I wrote something generation. Down. Let's see if I can pull it up in my head. It was I think what a father is, as opposed to someone who's not a father, or not being a good father model in this philosophical concept. Yeah, is someone who has a high expectation of you and does not change that expectation when you fail. Because that, to me, is what motherhood is. And there's nothing wrong with motherhood. To me, it's yin-yang. It's balance.
Of course, yeah.
Motherhood, they're the ones who lick your wounds and heal you and get you standing back on your feet. But they're not the ones that are going to motivate you to get to the next level. That's fathers. Fatherhood is just anyone who's not an enabler. Who's like a yes man. Who's like, yeah, you're right. He did treat you wrong. It's like, honestly, to me, a majority of it's just like girls being like, this guy was so mean to me. It's like, that's the stereotype I go to.
The father's the other half of that. Mom is, yeah, you're right. He did treat you wrong. And father is, but what you gonna do about it? Though?
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
You put in better words than me, man. I'm glad I brought a rapper on.
Yeah, man. That's how it is, man.
Because I have these long stories, and you can just break it into like 4 words.
Yeah, like, because I know that's been always the dynamic between my mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
This, I don't know if you know any or care give a fuck really about astrology or like know anything about it, but
I love listening to it because I don't believe a damn thing about it.
But so on that note,
I believe I do. I'll give you a preamble. I do believe that what's going on in the stars is something incredible. And if you had to make a calculation about where the positioning of everything is, that is definitely magical to me. But I don't think that people who write stories about it have any idea what they're talking about. I believe in astrology. I just don't believe in people who talk about astrology, if that makes any sense.
I feel you. I feel that. But with that being said, my mom is no, that's all good, bro. That was hilarious. But no, I feel that a lot of that should be bullshit. I don't read horoscopes and nothing like that. But anyway.
Yeah, I do believe in patterns though. And some people are picking up on the right patterns.
But my mom is a Cancer, my dad is an Aquarius.
Okay.
And so my mom has always just been the more like softer, like, oh, it's all right, and you know, I'll make you something, you know, whatever. Oh, you sick? I'll make up something, brew some shit up. You know what I'm saying? Make you feel better. Pop's always just been like, yo, like, you sick. Why ain't you wear no coat? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know it's cold, but like, he's gonna challenge you here and be like, well, if you knew you was wearing it, you know what I'm saying? And make you feel like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? Make you feel like I fucked up. But it's not just to say like you fucked up, but it's just to say that be prepared, be smart.
Then that's what it is. Yeah.
Be diligent. Like if you know you do something, why are you not prepared for what
you're doing? That's why, to me, when you can't talk about what fatherhood is without the word expectation.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because that's the biggest thing is like you're not being a father to your son, even if you are the biological father to your biological son. If you don't have a high expectation for what your son can do, you're not being a father. That's why you get so many movies, you know, TV shows, songs. Like I think of Ricky Bobby. He's always looking for his dad's approval, you know, just some movie everyone's seen. It's like, why? He wants his father to have a high expectation of him and see that he's accomplished it.
Acknowledge him for
that. And acknowledge it. Yeah, that's what fatherhood. Maybe that's the follow-up I didn't give either. Is because one of the things I think more guys need to do is pat each other on the back. You know, women are very good at it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got those new nails? Oh my god. They
live off encouragement and compliments and oh my god, you look amazing.
Guys are the opposite. And the funny thing is, it's like I think there's a certain demographic of men who are a lot more liberal in their likes.
I feel you.
I've never said that before. That's all right. I'm just gonna let that linger.
For sure.
They're liberal.
Didn't marinate.
Liberal in their likes. Put that on a shirt. I'm not liberal with my legs.
I feel.
All right. I am liberal with my legs.
I feel that, man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, dude. I'm
gonna get some water if you wanna. We'll just keep streaming, but I'm just gonna fill up.
I got you. But I think that's a big part of it, man. Is like the acknowledgement of you kind of accomplishing that expectation. I think that's kind of like a big part of fatherhood and just manhood in general is like that passing of the torch of like, 100%. You know what I'm saying? Of like, oh, you learned well. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like, now I'm fading, and now it's time for you to take over. You know
I think that's one of the big things.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Fatherhood is generally also a person we didn't really get into.
So
has had more experience.
Yeah.
Generally, because I really think that I felt the most fulfilled by helping people younger than me, or at least in a position where I do know more than them. Just because, like, I think people are constantly trying to struggle with people above them. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you can learn just as much by helping someone who's not where you're at yet. You go over what you already know. You like, you know, the second time going through that information, you're going to learn more about yourself, but also you're going to get that person to a place where now they can support you. You know,
exactly.
Like example, like, I don't know, your plumbing goes out, right? You've never done it. Someone comes one of your friends that does know plumbing, they come over and you do it together. Now you trust each other more. I learned how to do the plumbing. I might be able to do it myself now. And third off is it's like, that was just, I don't know. I felt like I had a better point. I was just going to say that, like, you can be friends now. That's kind of the.
And I think in that friendship, it creates like a conduit for the further sharing of knowledge. Right. Because you taught me. I have
you over for dinner.
What else can I learn from you possibly? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, that's when like your families come together.
Yeah.
you know.
And then you get closer.
That's one thing my parents have always done is they've always had a nice dining table to just be able to have some people over. Just one family with one family. It's just that's one thing. A lot in I don't know on your side of things. Like I think that's a very Latin thing. Not to say that my father's side doesn't also, but just to be able to host people at your place is like having your place in good order where you have something to offer people. I find that not all cultures are like that. Some people, their home is literally just a place to crash, you know. And what's your take?
We do that at certain times. You know what I'm saying? Like at certain times, man. Like
yeah,
we are Americans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We are. You know what I'm saying? Like
that means a lot of different things.
Yeah, you know what I mean. We are. You know. Yeah, man. Like we don't. Like only time I really eat with my family is like a holiday or special occasion. Like 9 times out of 10, we really just be doing our own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
see, when I'm living with my parents, like when I'm staying at their house, like this last weekend, we sit down to dinner. It's like, and the thing is, I after living on my own, I start thinking more the way you're talking. And when I come over and like I come in with some Chipotle and my dad like made dinner, he's like, really? Like, yeah, sorry, man. Bro. I was hungry. It was right there. Like, yeah.
And plus, I'm sure there are a lot of different dynamics that go into, that difference. Like my parents aren't together. My parents ain't been together for like years. So,
okay.
Since I was like a kid, like 4 or 5 years old. So
okay.
It's never really been like that, like for me. So it's not really,
It's always weird for me to address that. I don't know. And
yeah, man, it's I don't know. So I guess it's just a case of you can't really miss what you never had because that's the shit I never really had. Like, I mean, I got like Christmas, Thanksgiving, you know what I'm saying, somebody's birthday, a funeral, you know what I'm saying, a family reunion. But other than that, like, nah, like we really kind of be doing our own thing. Even in my house, like there are like 5 of us that live in my house. Like I say my house like it's my house, but
right.
But I'm saying my pops.
I do when I stay there. I'll tell you the same thing.
For sure. It's like me, my pops, my grandparents, and my bum ass uncle. I can't stand that nigga. But anyway, that's another story. But it's 5 of us.
You didn't hear it here.
Yeah.
You didn't hear it here.
Anyway, but it's 5 of us, and we rarely, if ever eat together. Like ever. Like we rarely eat at the table, period. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I eat in my room.
You saw, man, like I brought the Chipotle, like I got your drink, like we sat down, that's like, what I'm used to.
I eat in my room, like my grandparents really do that shit, but they even still eat in their room, like everybody. My dad,
I'll put it this way, like we're talking about like take on it. I will say though, it's nice. It's like nice thing.
It's nice when you do it.
Yeah. It takes preparation. It definitely takes a bunch of people stopping what they're doing at the same time for each other.
That togetherness of like we gonna cook together, we gonna set up.
There's something divine about it, man. There's something talk about the spiritual.
Yeah.
Having
it's like a ritual.
Yeah, I think that's what makes you family. Having breaking bread together. Mm-hmm. That's
among other things. You know what I'm saying? But,
well, yeah. There's plenty of things that make you family, but I think that's like one of the things you can do easily.
That's very a good way to get people.
Nothing needs to happen in it. It's just you literally just spending the time. You can literally just be quiet. Mm-hmm. It's better than eating alone.
But you also have to take into account that I know a lot of people, not really so much my family, but
talking from someone who eats alone every night.
For sure.
Mostly.
But not so much really like my family, but I know a lot of people who their families like just cannot get along, bro.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people like that, like who they just can't get along. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like so,
I won't say things are perfect in my house by any means.
Oh yeah, for sure. Nothing ever is. But I'm talking about people who like disagree violently.
Yeah.
Like, who they get together, it's gonna be an issue.
I'm just saying I'm lucky. You know
what I'm saying? And like I said, not so much my family, but there's a couple people in my family like that, but they generally stay in their little corner. But I know people that are like way worse, like who got cousins that like damn near killed each other. You feel me? Like on some shit, like so some people can't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Unless somebody get hurt, you know what I'm saying, or somebody get their feelings hurt, or drama or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But love your families, people. That's the
What's that?
Fucking, I said, love your families.
Love your families. Yeah, that's
Please.
the big thing
For all
to
of
take out
us.
of it.
It's for all of us.
Well, yeah.
Because I don't want your angry younger cousin to come fucking rob you because he mad at you for some shit you did.
Yeah.
Love him.
And I think people with families have they have their skin in the game.
Yeah. For sure.
You know, this game of life, this society thing. It's like if you don't have a family, yeah, you can afford to do some of that dumb stuff. You can afford to, you know, rob. You can afford,
Right.
you know, that's it. The desperation. I think someone I followed posted recently. The wounded deer jumps the highest, and I forget what the other part was. But it was to say that people who have nothing to lose are people who can do incredible, great things. It's like, what are you going to do with that potential you have?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think we talked about earlier that like trauma is where your brain goes to when it's organizing things like conflict, great moments of conflict. It's like that's what gets us going. I didn't mean to take it on such a somber note here.
No, that's real though.
But that's kind of what people remember. And family are obviously the people you normally turn to when those moments rise to stabilize you, remind you what's real, remind you what matters, what's available. So I mean, a lot of times I call my parents. I'm like, I didn't even. You should do this. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Thanks.
Yeah, right.
You know?
They give you different angles of thought that you know.
Yeah. Or even just like I'm really worked up. I'm like, I can't believe I was this dumb. And they're just like, well, you are. So congratulations, you're fine. We're all this dumb.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
played yourself.
Congratulations, you overplayed your hand. Like, damn it. Okay. I don't know. This is a weird spot. I think we're taking a weird angle because you're going like further back. I had it so we'd be like this, but it's just whatever.
It's all good.
The mic's fine. I don't know. It's like tipping right at the end of the thing.
Audio.
But yeah. Where are we at? I mean, I think we're almost at a point where it should be
like 45
wrapping up. 45 minutes. Oh, there it is. 46 minutes in. So we do about an hour. The big thing is the last one I did, we just rambled on for like an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm just trying to make sure it's in a digestible amount. We got into some big stuff.
For sure.
Didn't resolve anything.
Yeah, I have a question though.
Yeah.
In regards to for you though, in regards to like dads and shit.
Yeah.
And it's something I've been thinking about with my dad because as you get older, you know, your relationship with your parents change. So, like, how would you say the way you felt about your dad has changed over the years? Because I know that throughout different stages of my life, I felt varying ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How I feel now. So like, how
big time.
does that evolve for you?
You mean maybe as far as like someone you're competing against, someone that's maybe holding you back, like different. I have definitely harbored dumb opinions of my father.
Oh, me too.
I've looked at him as an oppressor, something holding me back before. I'd say I look at him more as a competitor in the game.
Yeah.
We're both in the same race. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, we're on the same team too, so we're trying to exchange notes. Mm-hmm. But that's honestly the best. That feels, you know, feeling like a peer to your father is great. I think it's good for both of us. But are there any particular? Because that's where I'm at now. Is there anything in particular you're referring to?
Well, no, I just know that for me, like in my experience, like having the relationship that my parents had, you know what I'm saying, and kind of a lot of the difficulties and the drama that came out of that, them getting, because they were married at first, but then they got divorced. So I know that for a long time, like I blamed my dad for that. You know what I'm saying? I blamed him for that shit, and I felt like it was while not entirely his fault, I felt like it was like, damn, bro, like why'd you have to, you know what I'm saying? Like we could have kept the shit going. You know what I'm saying? Like cool. And I know for a long time I was mad at him. You know what I'm saying? I was angry at him for that. You know what I'm saying? And then I was angry at him for other reasons and just dumb shit, really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Looking back now. But it took me like probably in these last like really since I turned like 18, really like these past like 6 years to really come to a place of like I always respected my dad.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? But now I've come to a place of like
the respect is coming from different perspectives.
Right. And I respect him so much more and I appreciate him so much more. And I'm grateful for him so much more than I ever was in my life before. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because looking back now at some of my friends and just people I knew that I wasn't particularly close with that I like went to school with and seeing what happened to them and knowing their situations, like a lot of people I know don't have their fathers in their life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people I know, like living with grandmas, moms, aunties, you know what I'm saying, or aunties and uncles or grandparents or whatever, like don't have a father in their life. And I used to buck so hard against my dad sometimes and kick back and be like, man, why I gotta do all this? Why I gotta, like, why are you putting all this on me? And then I realized, like, up until now at 24, I'm like, now I'm so much more versatile and so much more smarter and more mature than a lot of my peers, because they didn't have somebody on their ass coming up. They didn't have somebody to light that fire on their ass and be like, nah, you gonna get this done. Or, nah, you gonna graduate. Or nah, you gonna do this. Like,
and then we were talking about before, it's like what that conflict looks like. It's like, how's it going to get resolved? And I think the biggest thing that you and I probably agree on is it's like, you don't need to test your father to respect his advice and his support, you know? It's like, well, or what, Dad? It's like, or what? You're going to fail at life. And I'm trying to get you to not.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
You know, but that's what we were talking about kids before, who they're like, talking back to their parents. Yeah. It's like, all I see is a kid going like, I want to fail. But the parents are like, all right.
Yeah, like, if that's what you want.
Okay. I'm not going to stop you from.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you got to smack a kid upside the head a little bit.
Definitely. And he did that. You know what I'm saying? When it was required. And I
kids learn that they're a threat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I use the word threat loosely. It's relatively. Like they learn what the meaning of that word is, like that persona for them to be the person who can change plans, who can, sorry, I can't go to work today, my kid's sick. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, now I get a day with mommy, now I get a day with daddy. It's like, if you start letting these kids do that, they're gonna do that when they're adults, you know. And now those are the people we're interacting with, and so I think, you know, it's lucky to have the parents you have, but I think the biggest thing I want to talk about in this whole fatherhood episode is it's something that can happen in any interaction. It can be two women, can be father figures to each other. You know what I mean? They look at each other as peers. That, like, I hold you to high expectation, and when you don't meet it, I'm still gonna expect that you get there. And a lot of people, men, don't like that relationship to have with certain people. You know what I mean? It's like, you told me you have a goal for your rapping career, you know. And by telling me that, you said that's where you want to be. So, like, the next time we interact, I'm going to ask you, how's that going? And, you know, I think that creates anxiety for people. It's like, well, shit, I told him that. It's like, and not to put you on the spot here, because this is the way my brain works when I tell you stuff, too. Like about my podcast, where I want it.
You want to be held accountable.
You want to be held accountable.
But I think it's a good anxiety. It's a good anxiety that's like, I need to work harder. Like,
it's the kind that gets you to, you know, make stuff.
Get up off your ass and get shit done. Like,
go to Chicago. Try a sales job, you know, do X,
because if it's in your head, is one thing, but if it's in your head and somebody else's head, it makes it real, because now it's like they're sharing in that reality. Oh, I thought you said this, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got no comeback, because it's like, damn, I did kind of say, and now you only got yourself to be like, damn, I didn't. So it was me.
Everyone needs to be more fathers to each other. In that definition.
In that sense.
In that definition.
In the sense of accountability.
That's something I'll put your plug in for your father, and I'll put that fatherhood thing.
Definitely.
We'll type that out just to have something in the description. But I mean, maybe anything else, kind of like to have final thoughts on what fatherhood, where fatherhood is and where it should be. If we could, you know, saying two single guys in Chicago giving advice about fatherhood.
Hey, you put it that way. But yeah.
I assume you're single. I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we didn't get into that.
That's a whole different.
We got another chat about. Yeah.
But as far as the state of fatherhood and the state of where it should be, I think
in the sense we can control it.
Yeah.
Because it's unreasonable to do anything otherwise.
Is that in my sphere of influence, like where I dwell primarily, and what I see is that we definitely need more of them, man. First and foremost, like, we need more fathers in their children's lives, man. Like, and that's, like I said, why I'm very protective about having children of my own, because I don't want to have a child and not be able to be there for them and do for them the way I would like to. Yeah. The way I believe a father should.
Well, and I do look at it as if you're not being a father, you are being a mother to people. In that sense, you're like licking their wounds, say, it's okay. You know, you fell short and that's fine. Will you be my friend? You know, and that's where it starts to get, that will you be my friend part is where people start living short of their own expectations of themselves.
Definitely. And
you know,
so that's
getting comfortable.
Yeah, but I think we should, with that being said, though,
Not to say I have a problem with motherhood in the first
Oh
place.
yeah, definitely not. This
It's very important.
both are required, but yeah. With that being said, I think yeah, that's just the biggest goal, man. As far as like in my neck of the woods, like I would just, and also more pride taking in fatherhood, man.
That's
like,
that's nothing.
we don't advertise fatherhood the way we advertise motherhood. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We don't talk about it the same way.
I saw
like,
I saw a tweet. I absolutely loved it. Given the context, I don't know if you're on Twitter much.
a little bit.
And there was a racial component to it, and I'll admit that. The funny thing is, I hate when I say I'm proud of a black person, and people are like, "Oh, you can't do that. You're not black." I'm like, "The hell I can't." Are you kidding me? Like the whole reason you have a problem with me having a problem with saying what I'm saying is exactly why I'm saying a black father and not just a father, because there is a separate, pride that I have. Anyway, it's a video, and it says when you're something about the kid's grades. And from the way he's taking the shot, it looks like he's yelling at the kid. But if you have the volume turned on, he's like, "You are killing it in school. You're getting the good grades. You're doing all this." He's like, "You're doing your exercise every day." And the kid's just sitting there smiling like he's getting yelled at. Yeah. And he's like, when the report card comes in or something like that. I was just like, that's awesome. That's so wholesome. That's great. And that got so much love. But it's like that needs to happen like on a small level. It's like, hey, my son got straight A's. And the dudes should be like, "Hey, happy for you,"
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that happens enough.
It doesn't, man.
Just in the circles I know, like friends of mine will be like, "Yeah, I got a promotion." And they're like, everyone's like, "Yeah, cool." It's like, dude, you got it. Let's go, man.
You got a promo?
Yeah. It's like I hate this job. It's like I don't care.
Yeah, I feel that.
Guys are really bad at celebrating stuff. Besides, well. So
Yeah, I think that's just a man in our society.
Yeah.
Like men in our society, we have a thing about being too close and being too open and too like we look at that as like you know what I'm saying, which is terrible because like we die from high rates of fucking suicide and just murdering each other because we just explode and just can't handle shit. So we
But then we're not the victims in this situation though. You can't say that because we're the aggressors. We're the ones doing the.
Oh yeah, it's our fault.
Yeah,
like what I'm saying.
No, I'm being ironic. That's my comedy. We can't be victims because we're the ones doing.
For sure.
It's like if you can't sympathize. Like one of the big things that got me. I don't know if you watched American Horror Story at all.
No, I've never seen it. I hear a lot about it.
I mean, honestly, it's gone in a really weird direction. I don't know stuff. But in the first season, one of the characters is a ghost. He's got amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
And do you plan on watching it? Because I'm about to reveal like a major twist. So, spoiler alert for American Horror Story Season 1 Murder House. So there's this kid. He is one of the ghosts. Actually, the ghosts in the show, you can't tell are ghosts right away. It's like the third episode where you realize these people aren't the neighbors. So what happens is this kid comes around. You don't know what he did, what was wrong, because he doesn't remember. He's really weird about his past. Turns out he was a school shooter, and he came home and the police gunned him down in the house. That's why he's a spirit there, and he doesn't remember it because he's so spiteful of what he did. Why the hell did I bring him up? I brought him up for a reason. We were talking about no. I know there's a reason why I brought it up. It's like his story. Oh yeah, like isolated people. I saw like him because the actor is like a heartthrob. It's like my cousin. She's like, "Oh my god, he's so cute." Blah blah blah.
So hot.
Played a school shooter. And the thing is, people don't like realize. We were talking the high rates of suicide in men. Mm-hmm. It's like to me when I see a school shooter, I chalk that up in the suicide column.
That's basically what it is.
It's suicide. I'm so resentful because when someone only commits suicide to themselves, they're trying to take themselves away. But when you can get to that level of anger, where it's like, I'm not getting rid of me until you guys get rid of me for me. That's a whole nother level, but it's the same, like,
yeah, it's the same, like, basic.
Yeah, and I don't hear anyone talk about that. That here's school shooters, and it's all toxic masculinity, and it's the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's men being isolated, and not, like you said, not being able to connect with someone, not say, I had a really big issue with this, and I don't know who to talk to about. It's like women get to do that all the time. Can you believe they said this? Guys can't do that. Mm-hmm. And we do find ways of resolving it, but I think there's certain men who don't have those channels, and
That's true.
we're seeing it bubbling up through this.
Definitely, and I think that fathers have a role to play in that
Yes.
as well. Like if I have a son, like I would want him to be able to talk to me about anything, like even if it's something that I may not necessarily be comfortable with. I don't give a fuck if I'm not comfortable. Like,
right. Well, it's my job. It's my job as a father.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To hear my son.
That'd be like a father who doesn't want to change diapers.
Yeah, like that's part of the job, my boy.
I don't.
Like,
yeah.
That's what you
I can't wait. I'll tell you right now. I can't wait to change my first diaper on my son or daughter. I don't want to do it by any means.
Yeah.
But I want to be in the situation where I get to. You know.
Yeah.
It's like I understand what comes with it.
For sure.
You know, you can't go get your new Tesla and never charge it. Whatever you earn, there's responsibility comes with it.
You got maintenance, yeah. You got maintain.
You're talking about like the baby mama stuff. Mm-hmm. That's to me.
Oh God, bro.
There's no maintenance there.
That's another fear with having kids. Not only will I be able to provide for the child, but is this woman crazy? Like, is she gonna be difficult to deal with? Is she gonna be drama?
No, but you're the problem, dude. You're the problem. That's it, man. I get really sarcastic on this issue, but it's because I've just heard so many dumb arguments. That's what I think sarcasm is. You just heard enough stories that just, fall in this situation. I'll put right here. In like this category, but you're like, I've just had enough of it. Sarcasm just comes out because you can't even provide something that's like legitimate point anymore. But yeah, so make sure you're a father to people. Give them high expectations, and then hold them accountable. Don't coddle them because there was a time where obviously you thought they could do something and they thought they could do it too. Mm-hmm. So one person gave up and now one person's alone in that thought.
That's rough, man.
Right?
Cut me deep.
Yeah, I have those moments, dude. Scare myself sometimes.
Yeah, man. Oof.
Goosebumps. On that note, be a father to people, even if you're a mother, even if you're a daughter, it doesn't matter. Aunt, auntie, uncle, everybody can do it.
If you ain't trying to do the time, don't do the crime. No babies. Wrap it up.
There we go.
Be responsible.
Contraceptives, not abortions.
Exactly.
Peace.